Is dating still worth it? Is it still worth pursuing women? My answer is absolutely yes. And this is coming from a guy that has been through 4 different relationships, has been led on by a woman for an entire year, where I kept chasing her. I kept taking her out to dinner. I took her out to lunches, took her to the parties. Meanwhile, she's talking to guys in front of me, and I'm thinking the whole time, oh, she'll eventually come around. But all that's a story for another time. Because despite all the pain that I've gone through, I still eventually, one day, packed my bags, decided to travel. Now I'm in Colombia, and I have a great, excellent girlfriend who cooks for me, is always happy, makes me feel fantastic, saves me time. Time. That's the key piece, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, a lot of us engineers, I'm a software engineer myself, a lot of us that have done pretty well in our career, making upwards of 200K plus in Silicon Valley or elsewhere in the tech world, we've probably seen the red pill space. We've seen this, maybe some other things like black pill, men going their own way. We've heard from the media that half of relationships end in divorce. There's so much negativity out there that you can find any reason as a man to give up on dating, give up on pursuing women. I'm here to tell you that, sure, things may be tough, and they're tough now, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're in the best position to take advantage of it if we choose to. Now, I still remember when I focused heavily on work and not much on relationships. And during that time, I was definitely in a tough spot in my life. I was so focused on work, I didn't spend very much time dating women. This was at the beginning of my software engineering career, and I was hungry, and I wanted to build my career. And what I realized in the last 10 years the last actually 12 years working in this industry, is that relationships are a skill like any other. And the sooner you start learning it and practicing it, the easier it becomes for you later down the road. And I have been somewhat lucky, although unlucky. I wouldn't say, actually, let me rephrase that. I was fortunate at my younger years when I was in high school. I figured out how to get a couple girls to like me. But I never had sex until I was in my 30s. And a lot of people will say that's a late bloomer. And that may be true. But it's not about where you start. It's about where you end up finishing, right? There's plenty of people that they end up, they were the popular kid, and they got all the girls, and then after high school is over, their career didn't go anywhere, and of course, the only women they get are probably the low-quality women. But I'm not speaking to those guys. I'm speaking to the guys that have the career on point. They've been grinding. The money, your money's been on point, right? And you've been focusing on yourself, and you wanted to make sure that I want to be financially secure. That's very important. And so the only key pieces you were really missing maybe in your life is that like me, 10 years back, I didn't have a girl, and it feels dark sometimes. But what made me change my mindset on it and really make me start focusing on getting a girlfriend in the last couple of years was, if you think about it, we spend as men a lot of time focusing on the future. We think a lot about, we want to make all this money, and we want to have, maybe some of us, we want to have that nice watch, that nice car, whatever other nice toy that we want to have. And before, I used to think, oh, I just want that nice Porsche. Like, I want it because I'm a man. I'm passionate about cars. And yeah, that's true. Most men were passionate about cars. But did you ever really actually, if you really dig deep into it and you really think deeply about it, as men, we do everything in our life in the pursuit of getting that dream girlfriend or that dream wife or what have you, right? In fact, if you even look at all the marketing for all these brands, they always have a beautiful woman. She's probably not the focus. She's generally not the focus, but she's somewhere on the side, right? You look at a Porsche ad, a Ferrari ad, a Rolex ad, cologne ad. There's always going to be a beautiful woman in there. And that's because these marketing companies know that men are doing it for the woman. And I started realizing this more when I started thinking in myself. I asked myself, why am I making all this money for? Because for me, my biggest enjoyment when I'm going out to dinner is not to do it with myself, right? It's way more enjoyable when I'm doing it with someone else. I can do it with my guy friends. That's incredibly enjoyable as well. I mean, nothing's better than doing it with your guy friends that are basically some of your best friends. But also, there's something quite special about doing it, having a dinner, taking out a girl on a dinner, and seeing her eyes light up because the experience was so amazing, right? That's what, I don't know about you guys, but I've always thought when I think about it more, once I realized that for me, I actually do it for that precise thing, is seeing the enjoyment on someone that I care about, and that facial expression, the way their eyes light up, the way they thank you for the experience, that's what I do it for, right? And of course, let's not get it twisted. Of course, we want her to be cute. Of course, we want to have sex and all those other things. But really, you're not doing it necessarily just for the sex, because sex is such a small piece of that relationship. Right? Let's say you spend at least maybe minimum 8 hours a day with a girl. If she's your girlfriend, let's say. You're not going to be having sex for 8 hours of that day. And let's say you hang out with her for 3-4 times a week. I mean, there's no way you're having sex that many hours in one day. Now, maybe some of you guys are savages, I don't know. But in general, most men are not doing that. So that means you're going to be spending a lot of time just being around her and her presence. And so that means that she needs to be enjoyable to be around. She needs to be sweet. And otherwise, you're going to go crazy. And that's how you get with the wrong woman. She can certainly be a drain on your life. But let's go back to the thing I was talking about with regards to, as men, we do everything for women. Right? We do everything in pursuit of that dream woman. Now, let's assume that you've decided you're not going to go date anymore. You're not going to go pursue any women anymore. The very fact that you spend every single day looking at whatever content it is, red pill or whatever, that says women are evil and all these other things, you're spending brain cycles thinking about them in a negative light. So no matter what, you're still spending brain cycles. I don't know how many hours you spend, but I can almost assure you, if you're not already on your dating apps, if you're not already thinking about, oh, this girl is bad or what have you, you're probably, let's just say on average, the average man spends 2 hours a day total thinking about women in their subconscious mind. Or every so often, they're just thinking about it, right? Now let's do the math on that. For all you engineers out there, let's do the math on that. 2 hours a day, let's assume, let's say you make $50 an hour, $100. Let's go with $50 an hour, okay? What do you think the cost of that is? Let's say you make $50 an hour and you think about women on minimum 2 hours a day. That means at minimum you are spending, it costs you $100 worth of your time, times 7 days a week. Weekends you might be thinking about it a little bit more when you're lonely. So that's going to be, but let's be conservative. Let's just say 2 hours a day times 7 days a week, 14 hours times $50 an hour. What does that come out to? I believe that's $600. No, $700. $700 a week. $700 a week. Now multiply that by an entire year, which is 52 weeks. What does that come down to? I believe that is $35,000. So you spend $35,000 worth of your time thinking about women in a negative way. If you think in that way about women. So at minimum, every guy, negative or positive, will be spending probably roughly $35,000 a year just thinking about a woman. That's an extreme time cost, wouldn't you say? All of us, if we're straight men, we do want to have a woman that we can cuddle with, that we can have sex with. Now, imagine though, that's only at $50 an hour. When you start getting really good at your career, like me, who's making over $150 an hour, what is the real cost then? And for some of you really successful, that are making upwards of $200-$300 an hour, what is the real cost then? Right? We're talking about up to over $100,000 a year. I don't know, $100,000, $200,000 a year worth of time. Wouldn't it be better instead that you channeled that energy and figured out how to find a woman that cares about you? And then you no longer need to think about, oh, how am I going to get that girl? What should I do to talk to her? Man, I'm lonely today. Maybe I'll just go, go watch porn, or I'm just going to go jerk off, or I'm just going to go on Instagram and scroll and look at all the hot girls. Look, I've been there before. It's hard. It's not easy. If it was easy, every guy would have the beautiful dream woman. But that's the beauty of it. The very fact that you're watching this video lets me know that you're not the average guy, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that you have it in you to figure this out. It's not going to be easy. No one said it would be. Because anything that's worth having is not easy to obtain. All you engineers know that, because you didn't get to where you were in your career by just sitting around and hoping for blind luck that things would happen. We all had to prepare for it. And when I look back at myself, it took me years of preparation, many rejections, talking to many girls, networking with many people, dating the girl that I thought would be the right one, only to find out that we just didn't connect in that way after 5 or 6 months. But just like getting good at any skill, like software engineering, for example, relationships takes time as well to develop. And depending on where you are in your relationship skill journey, if you've never had a girlfriend, then the best time was yesterday. The best time to start learning to find one was yesterday. And the next best time is today, now. Because we don't get any younger, and we end up just getting more responsibilities, especially as we level up as men. And besides, there's so many women out there that are just looking for us, right? And here's an alternative idea that I want to share with you before I end this video. And that is that maybe the US, for those of you that are in the US or in the West, is not exactly the best place for dating. Or maybe it is. It really all depends on your circumstance. For me, sometimes you need to also stretch your horizons, expand your mind. After all, the world's a big place. It's not confined to just the US. What about exploring? That's what I did. I happened to have some friends that did this before I did, and they helped me show me the ropes. They guided me. They said, "Hey, Leland, you haven't traveled, have you? You haven't been to Latin America. Why don't you go try that? See what that's like." And that's exactly what I did. And now I have a girlfriend. It's my 5th one now. In fact, I've had 2 in the last 2 years. That's more than I've ever had in the last 10 years, which was 1. And she was not even that cute. She was okay. I'm not saying this to say negative things about women, but I'm just saying that we all upgrade. And I can say that I have a very sweet and loving girlfriend right now who takes care of me and is cute and sweet. I had to travel to Colombia. I had to learn Spanish to do that. But man, was that an adventure. Which is something I'll talk for another time. Because what you'll find is that you start meeting all these new people. In fact, there was a time when I was in Mexico City, I met this girl. I was dating her for about almost a year. And because of dating her, I met this guy who happened to be a co-owner of a restaurant on the top of Ritz-Carlton in Mexico City, the only Ritz-Carlton in Mexico City. He also happened to own multiple restaurants. He had done government contracts in Mexico City, and this guy was from the US. All because I just met one girl. And so not only will you have great experiences and you'll learn from these relationships, you're also never going to know who you're going to meet, who can accelerate your life to the next level. But I don't want to dive too deep in that right now because that's not what this is about. What this is about is dusting yourself off and reminding yourself that you are of a man of value. And that there is more than one woman out there that would be absolutely happy to meet you. In fact, they're dying to meet you. I know it sounds kind of crazy for some of you. And, you know, I would, if any of you would be interested, come to Colombia with me. Come here. I'll show you guys the ropes. I'm just offering that. I'm just saying, you know, that's what I did with a couple of my friends. And they proved it to me. I was skeptical at first, but now I am a changed man. And now I don't spend 2-3 hours a day thinking about how to get that girl, how to get this girl. I can focus on my grind. I got to focus on work more. I got to focus on myself more again. And not waste brain cycles thinking about some random girl or getting swindled on some dating app. So, anyways, that's it for now. Anyone who's interested, feel free to send me a message. And I don't have any formal programs ready yet. Those will be coming at some point in the future, because I know I have a lot of guys that ask me these kinds of questions with regards to relationships. But I just want to leave you guys with the idea that, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, it's hard. And yes, right now, maybe what you're going through is not easy. But I can empathize with you. I know what that's like. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And when you reach it, oh my goodness, it is the most amazing experience you will ever have. And I can promise you, once you experience it, you'll be just like me. And you will be telling everyone, oh my goodness, so glad I did it. So glad that I figured it out. And you know what? You're just going to get, and you know what? I'm just getting started. Things are only going to continue getting better. So I hope you guys found that helpful. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy, y'all.